Right, Casey,
Hello.
tell us about Mad Truth.
Mad Truth is an arts organisation based around the power of creative expression for improving mental health and promoting personal growth. The idea being that creative expression can be used as a powerful tool to reframe tragedy, trauma and mental illness in a way where these things no longer keep us from becoming our best selves, but instead become a source of beauty and strength and resilience. That's the elevator pitch. That's what I tell people in shops. Like, people ask me what I do, and I give them that, and then they say, I just asked you what you go. It's similar to like what we did a minute ago with how are you? Oh, I'm like having an existential crisis, which involves this, and this at the same time. That's what Mad Truth is. Mad Truth started in a youth centre when I was about 17, 18, following a period of quite severe mental health issues. And I found that during that period, if I could externalize what I was going through, right? If I could put that onto a canvas, whether that be a physical one or a metaphorical one, a kind of weird alchemy had taken place. And I could reframe all of these things that I was experiencing in a way where I could look at a piece of work that I had made and go, wow, something so beautiful came from something that was so dark and messed up and difficult. And so I've been doing Mad Truth for nearly 3 years now. We did a poetry book called Fly Don't Fall. Oh yeah, side note, but Mad Truth has 3 sort of slogans or whatever. Fly Don't Fall, creativity is freedom, and speak your truth. These are the 3 sort of major projects that I want to finish before we move on to the next stage, which we'll talk about in a minute, I'm sure. But yeah, so Fly Don't Fall was the poetry book, and creativity is freedom is the second.
Nice. And I feel like the Fly Don't Fall kind of ties in with FYA quite well.
Did you read it?
The poetry book?
Yeah.
I don't think you sent it to me, or I've not seen it.
I'll read it.
But yeah, I think...
We worked hard on it.
Yeah, I imagine so. Kind of supporting young people. I guess as well, the creativity is freedom kind of links in with that, because we do a lot with digital media, letting people find the kind of platform that they want to use to express themselves. And yeah, so I think there's a lot of overlap with what we're trying to do with the different organisations, and it's going to be intriguing working together. So Casey is going to be running some workshops, and I'll let Casey talk about that in a bit more detail.
Yeah, so Creativity is Freedom involves 4 workshops, or sort of workshop templates that deal with sort of creativity and using creativity as like a conduit to discovering your true self or whatever, and sort of using creativity as a tool for personal growth and confidence building and things like that. So Creativity is Freedom involves 4 main sort of workshops that I'm going to be running. I'm just going to run through these now. So the first is Creative Fusion Curation, which Mad Truth will facilitate and curate talented individuals across many artistic disciplines, or collaboratively create a live or digital exhibition based on a certain theme. Here's some examples: mental health, spirituality, healing, openness, and so on. Your imagination is the only limitation. This workshop's frees us up to experiment with many different artistic approaches, from film to music, photography, and more. Everyone will find something interesting and engaging to focus on. So that's not even necessarily, if you don't consider yourself a creative person and you go, I'm not an artist, I've never been creative in my life, come to this group and we will change that forever, and it will change your life. So the second workshop is called The Good Notes, which involves a live looping ambient music workshop. So a live music looping workshop involving creating beautiful and evocative ambient soundscapes paired with meditative and mindfulness practices, mixing free writing and music to create original, collaborative work all in real time. Participants will communicate a story, emotion, or aspiration in the form of creative writing, poetry or prose, which will end with a positive affirmation about themselves or somebody they care for. These pieces will then be performed, looped, edited, and applied to the music. So by the end of the session, we have a powerful sound collage, which can then be showcased in venues, gallery spaces, and so on. So what I found quite enjoyable or rewarding is creating these sounds and creating these atmospheres or whatever, and then having them played in a space. I find that to be like a really sort of impactful thing, especially, you know, if you're in a place like FYA and you've got an event or whatever, having the kind of music that Mad Truth makes in the background creates an atmosphere that is almost that almost encourages creativity, because it's got this sort of mystical, magical like vibe to it or whatever. Third workshop is Intro Reflections, which is again about poetry and creative writing. Participants will choose a theme from a hat, and we will each contribute a line or verse of poetry based around the specific theme. This activity will ensure everyone is heard and has an opportunity to express themselves, to highlight the positive aspects of who they are. We'll start by getting to know each other. Each person will introduce themselves as well as saying a single word to describe how they currently feel. Together, we will create a collection of words which will feature in an exhibition in December 22. I'm quite proud of myself there, because I've actually linked into what I was going to say for the first time in my life. So the culmination of all this work, the end goal will be to create an almost impromptu art show. Which features visuals, features music, features writing, features everyone involved, and that can be a networking opportunity for both people that work in the arts sector, people that work in social work, people that work in mental health, people that work in all these different forms of sort of expression or whatever, and trying to help people, and bringing all these people together in a room under the flag of Mad Truth and FYA, and and just do some good in the world, really.
Where would the showcase be going down? And
well, we did the Flat 04 book launch at the Carousel in Nottingham. Yeah. So I know some of the people down there. So I'm thinking there, New Art Exchange maybe. Yeah. Places like that.
Yeah, we're lucky in Nottingham that we've got so many kind of creative spaces that we can use. It's a big city of culture.
Yeah, well, it's weird because it's actually a small city, but it's like it's got so much going on.
Yeah,
whether it's contemporary or New Art Exchange or City Arts or any of these people. Like, I had a funny experience the other day because, you know, I've been doing Mad Truth for 3+ years, and I was at New Art Exchange recording something, and my friend sort of pulls me over, and he wants to introduce me to this guy, and he's like, "Oh, Casey, meet so and so." I was like, "We've already met twice. I already know all these people." So yeah, that's Creativity is Freedom in a nutshell. And FYA and FMB Radio have been sort of gracious enough to sort of adopt me. So I'm very grateful.
Well, I think it's definitely going to be beneficial for the both of us, and even for the young people that we work with, to do something just that's completely led by them, how they're feeling and what they kind of want out of the sessions, because I think these are very much, you kind of get out what you put in with it. And I think having the opportunity to, like you said, the only limit is your imagination, and to have that sort of freedom where you can just do anything, say anything that you feel is what you want to do in the moment, I think is quite a rare opportunity, because I think a lot of times things are quite structured, and sort of you do A, you do B, you do C, and then out pops D, whereas this is a lot more, like you said, there's a lot more freedom. Creativity is freedom. So it all ties back to that sort of tagline that you have, the Mad Truth.
Yeah, was there anything you wanted to add there?
I'm all good at the moment.
Yeah.
More of a thinker.
More of a listener.
So, yeah, and I think the experiences that I've had in my life, so I come from a low socioeconomic background. I grew up in a council house. My mum has sort of her own physical and mental difficulties. My brother has severe autism. And so I was very intimately familiar with the system and how it works. And I found that as I got older and I had all these issues and I was a bit of a shithouse or whatever, and I was just sort of acting out, And I found myself within these sort of systems, this I can never say that word.
Bureaucratic?
Bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy of whether it's the social care system or whether it's youth work or anything like that. So when I was 17, I met a man called Errol. And Errol, would tell me all these amazing stories about growing up in Jamaica. And he'd tell me these stories about how he met Bob Marley once and these incredible, such a beautiful human being. And I was just starting to write music around that time. I was just starting to write songs because I was going through all this turmoil and I just wanted to express myself and I wanted to sort of figure out who I was in that context. So I brought my guitar into the youth centre one day, and bear in mind, I had no self-confidence at all at this stage of my life. Couldn't look someone in the eye, couldn't have a conversation. Similar to how I was today, actually, because I was sort of in here, just sort of jamming or whatever, and I went in there, I don't know how to talk to people, and that's a separate thing. But so I bring my guitar in, and much to my horror, this guy used to be a music producer, so it was like some pressure. And he goes, right, play me something. And I go, what? Play me something? What? Oh, Jesus. So I get my guitar out, struggle through this thing, get to the end of it, it's pathetic. I can't play the guitar because my hands are shaking, I can't sing because I can't sing anyway. And I'll never forget this. Errol he looks me in the eye, and then he goes, so my eyes are firmly fixed in the floor, he brings me up with his eyesight, and then he goes, yeah, you've got something there. And a month later, I was on stage and I was performing in front of crowds of people, and I was singing my heart out because I had to. Creativity is not a commodity. Art is not a commodity. It's not something that can just be bought or sold. Just in the same way as your soul cannot be bought or sold, These things are integral to who we are as people. It's no coincidence that the earliest sort of evidence of mankind existing on this planet is, after we weren't being eaten by saber-toothed tigers, the first thing we do is sort of draw and just sketch our lives and try and understand the environment in which we're in. And nowadays it's increasingly complicated with social media and expectations of you go to college, you go to school, you go to uni, and then you get a job and you work till you die. That's not the avenue that a lot of people take. But if you don't take that path, it's very, very easy to fall through the cracks. It's very easy if you come from the kind of background that I come from, which is one of trauma and disorientation and not having a solid foundation. Creativity gives you that. Self-expression gives you that because you have a ground to stand on then. And then you can just hone that and sharpen the sword until your expression becomes a means of communicating the way that you see the world with other people, and that's mad truth.
It's just incredible to take something, like you said, that trauma and that typically negative sort of energy almost, and turning it into something positive, and people like Errol sort of seeing something in you and other people. And
still don't know what it was.
Must be a glimmer in the eye or something. But yeah, and I think taking that and turning it into something positive, like almost passing it on, helping other people with, even if it is just someone's day's brightened for a couple of hours, it's what you need to do in the world at the moment. Take that kind of negativity and turn it into something good.
So I have a question for the both of you. What does purpose mean to you? Obviously you're doing what you're doing for a reason, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't enjoy it, or you didn't find something positive in it, or you didn't think there was positivity to be had. So what does purpose mean to you, and where do you think that comes from? Because it's my personal belief that, as soon as you don't have a purpose, as soon as you don't have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, that's when it starts to go pretty wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll let you start, Erin.
I'll start. So yeah. I think I do really enjoy working for FYA. I think it has opened up a lot of different possibilities that I didn't think were there. So I started working full-time at FYA, coming out of quite a difficult period of my life. Something quite traumatic happened, and I was kind of trying to figure my way out of it and see where kind of the next step for me was. I'd sort of taken the time to heal, hide myself away a little bit, and kind of came to the point where I was like, right, time to sort of almost join the real world again. And coming here just feels easy. It's stressful at times, like today has been very stressful. It's hard work, it's difficult, but really enjoy coming here and seeing that what we do makes a difference to people, and it helps people in some capacity. Like I said, like making someone's day a little bit better, or supporting people, or because I think FYA being quite a small charity, it is just sort of one cog in the whole machine that is life. But yeah, and I think for me, purpose is not waking up happy each morning, because I think that's very unrealistic, but being able to look back at a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months, and think, okay, overall, I feel happy, and I can see that where I am now is further along than where I was before. So whether that be in career, in mental health, in friendships, relationships, just being able to like look through your life and think, I'm happier here than I was then, or I'm further along here than I was before. So I'm not sure if that really answered the question, but that was just my little tangent.
And I suppose being grateful for that as well. Can you tell me a little bit about how does FYA help people? Like, when was an example of a time, Erin, where somebody came to you as like, oh, this meant the world to me, or this really helped me, or whatever?
So we are currently coming to the end of running the Kickstart programme, which, for people that don't know what that is, it was basically a government-funded scheme to help young people who were struggling to find a job or struggling to get into kind of employment, the opportunity to get those skills and kind of get a foot in the door. So we've had a number of Kickstarters, and I think watching them go from kind of starting here, finding their feet, getting settled, sort of getting comfortable in their jobs, we offer them employability training as well. Watching them kind of go through that and being able to see the progression of people it's really like heartwarming. And I think we're keeping a couple people on, we're offering them full-time jobs, and they're thrilled to be kept on. And I think seeing those people who maybe without the Kickstart scheme would have struggled for a few more years, or would have maybe just kind of ended up in a job that they kind of had to get because of financial pressures or any other pressures, and maybe it wouldn't have been one that they'd loved, it would have been a job rather than a career. And I think working at FYA and with Majatu and FMB as well, a lot of people are here for the enjoyment rather than just the paycheck at the end. I mean, obviously we all have to work to make a living, but I think the employee satisfaction here is higher than you would at other, maybe more corporate places. It all depends what you're into, but I think as an organisation we're quite happy. And I think that sort of translates through to our service users as well, who come away feeling better after they've gone through one of our training programmes or access some of the resources that we offer. So I think it's more of a general thing of just seeing people kind of come through and come out the other side happier and within themselves as well, which I think is really important. Han.
Are we still talking about purpose?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about it. Yeah.
I think finding like your own purpose is like, I would say, coming to terms or finding something that makes you happy and shows you that you have a place in society and that you're happy with in itself. Or knowing that you're satisfied with how your life is going at that moment or how you are as a person. That's like finding your purpose, I would say.
I think respecting other people as well, and learning to appreciate people no matter what form of sort of whatever situation they find themselves in life and stuff. And I know that through creativity is freedom, I'll be exposed to a lot of people and to a lot of experiences that I wouldn't necessarily have otherwise. And that's really important, to broaden your horizons and to appreciate everyone's unique talent and ability. Because even though somebody might not be creative in the sense that they're like whatever, some crazy like Leonardo da Vinci character or whatever, but they will have something innate to them which is special and unique and worth celebrating and worth sort of putting out into the world in whatever medium that takes. And I want to listen. I just want to listen to everyone about everything, because I'm interested in everything. That's why I do Mad Truth. That's why I couldn't go and work in a corner shop or whatever, or a warehouse, or because I'd be climbing the walls in about half hour. And that's not me saying I'm better than anyone else. It's just that creativity and art has allowed me to get in touch with a deeper aspect of who I am. And that is a constantly evolving process of growth. And it's very interesting, Arian, what you said a minute ago about looking back to where you were then. Now, that's something that I struggle with, because I've been doing Mad Truth for 3 years now. And I try and put myself back in the position of being 17 in that youth centre and being with Errol and having those conversations, and because that informs all the stuff that I do now. You know, what you go through in life and your experiences make you who you are, and you can utilize that, especially if it's negative, and you can turn that through creativity into purpose and into meaning and into an avenue through which others can come up and learn about themselves and gain more compassion and understanding for themselves and others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think it all just goes down to what you said about respecting other people and respecting yourself as well, and whatever avenues people want to choose to do with their life. I think you have to have respect for that, as long as obviously it's not hurting anyone else or creating sort of problems.
Like turmoil.
Yeah. So I think as long as you're good vibes, you should be allowed to do what you want to do.
I feel like before you can start respecting or appreciating other people, you must find that respect and appreciation in yourself first and what you're doing at that time before you can spread it to others.
Yeah, I think so, because I think you have to be able to hold yourself to the same standards that you would hold other people, because otherwise it's just very hypocritical and very you can't judge other people for something that you would do.
The mental health struggles that I was experiencing was sort of this intense self-loathing that I didn't necessarily know where that was coming from necessarily. And I still don't in a lot of ways, because it's like I still feel like that in a lot of ways. And it's like, okay, well, you're doing all these amazing things. You're like teaming up with FYA. You got Mad Truth. You got your music. You've like getting films in cinemas and stuff. And it's almost like if you don't feel sufficient enough within yourself and you're not satisfied with who you are. But that's also, definitely in my case, that was a misconception, because I didn't know who I really was. I had this environment that projected onto me a personality or a set of qualities or whatever, and it was like, this is who you are. This is what you're about. And if you try and go against it, well, that's, like you're being inauthentic or something,
Yeah.
So again, like creativity was a tool. And like anything's a tool, but you can use it to to articulate the parts of yourself, your memories, your successes, your highs, your lows, and you can articulate that in such a way where it is so precise to how you feel in that moment. And then you can take that, and that feeling will live forever if it's good. And that feeling will, because I feel like human beings are pretty much the same, right? Like, if you go up to anybody on the street, they want what you want. They want to be safe. They want to be loved. They want to be looked after. They want to have fun and experiences and be able to be free, essentially. And I feel like a lot of people just want the same things, but a lot of people have the same sort of road marks in their life as well. And that becomes the point where, okay, well, we have this, and this in common, instead of all the many, many things we don't have in common. And then we can sit down and we can have a conversation like the one we're having today. And I'm just grateful to be able to do that.